So I'm up at the beach at Point Hudson, which is in Port Townsend, Washington. Smoking the last of some Mars mixture, I think it is, from Joe Fabian, who's the Laudisi sales guy, who was at the Kitsap Pipe Club meeting today, this afternoon. So I'll have some video of that. And the video I took is just the merest amount of the great conversation we had. That pipe club's really fun, and so it was great having him as a guest. He was talking about all things pipes, tobacco, and so I'm just right at the older Peterson handmade. So just finishing up. So it might end up being kind of a long video, I don't know. And like I said, I didn't capture a quarter of the good conversations we had. So it was priceless. It was absolutely a wonderful pipe club meeting. I hope everybody has a chance to do a pipe club or has a pipe club around them. There really should be a program. Yeah, so that's about that. I'm getting a little ash. Anyway, got fun.
Okay, we went over to Japan.
Oh, wait a minute.
When he was really getting going with his career.
Is that in your 9 to 12?
And he ended up making pictures.
John Cotton.
Tokutomi came back.
Okay, I won't.
Yeah. And Tokutomi,
You rebel rouser, you.
if 60 meters is the most
None of their business.
carver
Yeah.
of all time, Tokutomi is probably number 2. And if you look at all the American Edison carvers, a lot of them you can see elements of Tokutomi's design theory in their work. And Tokutomi trained before Suge. And actually, your Nikke's granddaughter just decided a couple of years ago that she wanted to pick up pipe carving and went to Suge to ask for an apprenticeship. And Suge said, okay, but you're not getting any slack just because you're Nikke's granddaughter. You know, we'll take you, but you're going to be an apprentice. And so she's your Nikke's granddaughter spent her first year there, you know, pushing wheelbarrows of briar around and doing the things that apprentices do. And now she's really coming into her own as a carver. But the Japanese have had their own beautiful carving tradition for decades now. And even China, guys like Ping Zhan and some of the other people coming out of China have, you know, they've got some amazing carvers. And what I see in China right now is exciting because China's had some really skilled carvers.
And what a market!
Yeah.
Oh my God! You know.
They've had some really great carvers for a couple of years now, but everything that was coming out of China previously looked like Russian or Japanese pipes. Now the pipes coming out of China are distinctly Chinese. They're developing a distinctly Chinese artistic, you know, the same way you could look at a Gerchukin and go, oh yeah, or a Rasiumin and go, oh yeah, that's Russian. You just know it looking at it. You know what I mean? You look at a Kaviki and you know it's Italian. China is finally developing that artistic voice, that regional style, and it really is uniquely Chinese.
Right.
I really want. Next year at Chicago, I think my goal was a Chinese pipe. I just haven't decided.
Well, I remember back when the freehands from Denmark first started coming to the market. It was kind of the same idea, you know, until about 1971, 72, every pipe looked like that. And all of a sudden, these guys like Ole Larson, Stockady, people like that, are all of a sudden making these flowery, hand-carved, plateau-top pipes, autographs that came along the same time. But that was a pretty revolutionary thing in those days, too. But that kind of waned, it became kind of a trend thing, and freehand, especially the Danish freehands, kind of disappeared from the market. For a while, people were kind of going back to classic sort of thing. But now I find that when I put like knee rups in the store, something that $150 price range, in a nice flowery looking, unusual, maybe with an acrylic stem that's got 85 colors in it. People go right to them. The young guys really want those unusual pieces.
And you said they're like 90% of your business?
Oh, 90% of my customers on pipes in general are under 35.
Wow.
It bodes well for the future of.
Yeah, most of the 45, 55, 60-year-old guys that are smoking stuff in my store, smoking cigars.
Oh,
They got the money to buy them, and they buy a handful of $15 cigars.
Well, you figure the cigar boom was in the mid-90s. You know,
Right.
That's when the cigar boom really hit its full steam. And that meant that there were a lot of people who were in their 20s and 30s in the 80s who started to get curious about cigars. You know,
Right.
Everything's always got, if there's a bell curve, you got to pay attention to when those outsides happen. So a lot of folks who would be, you know, I'm going to be 34 in a couple of weeks. So a lot of guys who would be in my father's generation who are in their 60s, and especially guys who are a little younger than my father in their 50s and 40s.
well, that's the generation you were talking about, the kind that skip pipe smoking.
Those were the cigar smoke. I mean,
Right.
in the 90s, every big-time football player smoked cigars. Every
Right.
actor was on the cover of Cigar Aficionado.
Yeah.
Cigars were the in thing.
Right.
And now, there's a rule in marketing. Whatever Grandpa did was cool, but whatever Dad did is
Exactly.
that's the rule.
That's the old saying that, you know, when I was 12 years old, my dad was the brightest guy in the world. When I was 18 years old, he was an idiot. But by the time I was 30, he was the bright guy.
Right.
Somehow none of that happened.
Everybody my age, all of my friends back in Phoenix, we all use single blade razors, safety razors, or straight razors
Right.
to shave. Most of us have gardens. I know more people that have gardens my age than my parents' age by a long shot.
You probably heard the latest thing with Schwarzenegger's cigar bar in Beverly Hills.
No,
Beverly Hills just outlawed smoking.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills, no smoking of any kind
Yeah.
anywhere in Beverly
Oh,
Hills.
you're kidding.
Except for Arnold Schwarzenegger's cigar bar. The cigar lounge, he got an exemption from the law. He must have connections.
He must
You
have
don't want to
connections.
piss off the Terminator.
That's exactly.
Yeah,
You
right.
know, Kramer's just closed there only 2 years ago. Kramer's,
I know, yeah.
that was, I mean, that was
legendary story.
Cary Grant's store. That was, you know,
Oh, really?
that was
Oh,
the
yeah.
old Hollywood pipe shop was Kramer's.
Did he just age out? And
Oh yeah.
I used to go to Gus's pipe shop.
I think the old man.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's long, long gone.
but you hear that.
But you go in there and you see actors, it's not always the top. Movie stuff, you see.
At one point, they were in a
The
Jeep
guys
going
that play
somewhere,
the bad
and he
guys,
was
Yeah.
maybe, and they're buying things.
So the hell's John?
That was a great
I like
He was
story.
hanging off the rear tire, trying to see how close he could get his butt to the
In
ground.
Anaheim.
Got him too close.
If you want to see the best pipe smoking movie of all time, it's
So he
Mr.
spent most of the
Blanding's
time-
Built His Dream.
Cary
Cary
Grant.
Grant. And they smoke pipes throughout the entire movie, 2 hours worth. And the funny little joke of the movie is Melvin Douglas is this attorney for Grant. And Melvin Douglas always bums his tobacco from Grant's humidor. He never buys his own tobacco. They go into Grant's office and dig into the humidor and get the pipe.
He actually went
Pretty funny. But a great movie, funny movie. Myrtle Loy's in it.
Al Kramer moved his shop to Beverly Hills from Chicago, and I want to say 61 or 62. In 1963, a guy named Stephen Richmond was trying to learn how to smoke a pipe. His father was a cigar smoker, so his father took him to Kramer's. And Mr. Kramer, Al, asked him, all right, well, show me what you're working with. And he put up this drugstore pipe and some drugstore aromatic. And Al Kramer picked that up off the counter without a comment, went over it, dropped it in his
Now let's talk.
picked out I think it was a GBD second and some English pipe tobacco, brought it back over and set him up. Steve Richmond went on to run probably the nicest high-end pipe shop in the Bay Area for the last 20 years. There used to be Grant's in Sherlock's Haven, but they both closed some years ago. Steve Richmond was probably the last holdout for Piedmont tobacconists for a really old-school, high-end, you know, Costello on the shelf, like very old-fashioned pipe shop. He just passed away this past spring. His daughters were
Oh, okay. So she's continuing now.
Smoking in the Bay Area.
Well, not only no. This is This is Piedmont.
You can smoke plenty of it.
This is Piedmont though. This is half a mile from the entrance to Berkeley's campus.
Oh,
It's
that's
the
the other
forward
side. The other side.
it's the forward operating base. You know what I mean?
There's still a few of us around living down there that can't get out. It's got a nice climate though.
It's okay.
Engineers,
I really like. I'm really liking the John Pond.
I think the Smyrna over the years has become their most popular.
Yeah.
Is that right? It's the most popular?
It had a really good smoky tin note when you open the tin.
Yeah, Cotton's was famous for Smyrna for years. We carried it in tin box 35 years ago.
This brand, the
McConnell's is an old legendary brand that used to be blended, I believe, in Scotland, but now
Right.
it's blended in
Germany, right? Yeah, because it was in every Stockholm shop that I went through, and in Oslo too. So it's widely distributed there.
Almost all of those old British labels, except for the Gowith labels, are now made of
Yeah, right. Yeah.
several different blends.
McConnell's Scottish like still one of my favorites.
Good, isn't it? Yeah. It's got a little perique in it. A lot of
It just looks like
Virginia.
this little shack.
That was in part the inspiration for Speakeasy.
So it looks like it's just a really. That was actually the entrance.
I got that one store.
There was an older recipe from McConnell's like this, and Jeremy and one of the other guys had tried it and decided they really liked it, and thought about how it was different from the newer stuff, and thought about how to make it a little bit more distinctly Cornell and Diehl style. But it was a very old tin of Scottish flake that got them going down the road to what ended up being Speakeasy.
Funny, there weren't very many flakes in the old days. Like in the 70s and early 80s, you had McConnell's Scottish flake, you had Dunhill light flake, Dunhill dark flake. Vulcan Sobrani made a very dark, early Virginia hybrid flake. That was about it. I mean, you had vapors like Three Nuns,
Can I take a look at it? I've never
but
seen
very few flakes.
Well, I think,
So is it really?
you know, if anything, if there's anything,
It's
the most
real
remarkable
goofy.
thing about the pipe world now,
Tobacco
and
is
granted, I
kind
was
of
not
a
around
laugh.
for the old pipe world, but I spent a lot of time listening to what people talk about.
and then flavor.
In
Yeah.
1970, nobody would have ever heard of UV, right? Nobody would have ever heard of them. If a tobacco shop got their hands on something special, it usually stayed unique to them unless they made a real push to try to get it other places. Steve Richmond, the guy who I mentioned before,
Right.
is the reason that Germains and Esoterica exist on the American market at all. He was the first guy to make a push for that. Come some of the other British blends, like I think McConnell's, he brought over to the United States for the first time too, along with Marty Culver's.
My dad had the highest level security clearances.
So nowadays, if you have some special tobacco blend that's made on a local market in India, you can look it up online and get it. And if a distributor like mine sees people asking for it, we can broker a distribution contract and bang, that's in the United States now. So now, because of the accessibility, there's probably more diversity in the pipe world in terms of tobacco blends available now than there ever has been.
Is that what happened with Presbyterian mixture? I know it was really difficult to come by, but all of a sudden when Planta became a Laudisi property, I could get Presbyterian anytime I wanted.
And then he would go in there.
So the guys who run Smoking Pipe, this is a story I shouldn't have on camera.
Okay. You were talking about blends, you know, that the internet has changed that. And
So they were at one stage.
do we run into the U.S. law now that, you know, tobaccos have to have been grandfathered in, basically, or they're prohibitively expensive to license and do all that?
The problem with the U.S. law is that nobody knows what the U.S. law looks like yet.
It isn't in action right now?
No. They pushed the date back, but like,
Yeah.
what specific testing a blend might have to go through, we still don't know.
Oh.
We still don't. None of this has been spelled out yet. It's just all been sort of on hold. There's the Cigar Rights of America and IPCPR, which is now IPCPR just changed their name. PCA, Premium
Okay.
Cigar Association.
Right.
They have a political action committee, and they've been working on fighting a couple lawsuits with this FDA business, but it's all still undefined.
Oh.
So right now, everybody's just kind of doing their best to abide by the law as well as we can understand it.
Now,
But-
the Presbyterian mixture has been available here and there for years.
Oh, yeah.
Are there a lot of planted tobaccos in your line now that are brand new to the States? They've all been available the whole time, so that's not a problem
Oh, okay.
as far as the vetting goes.
Right.
But the one that comes to mind to me is the new Dunhill situation where apparently STG is going to market the Dunhill tobaccos under the Peterson label.
Oh,
So the
Interesting.
question comes up for the FDA, is it the recipe?
right.
Because the recipe is exactly the same. The same people have been doing Dunhill tobaccos forever, STG, are going to be doing it again. So it's exactly the same blend, using the same tobacco.
Yeah, it's the same
It's just a
recipe.
different name. Now,
Yeah, the only thing that's changing is the label.
is that a deal breaker or not for the FDA? Who
Right.
knows? Who knows?
If it's
I know,
if
yeah.
it's the same recipe, then it'll be fine. What made Dunhill so weird before was that BAT, who bought the Dunhill name, didn't want to license that name to anybody. It didn't want to license the recipes to anybody.
Okay.
So if somebody brought out a Dunhill match, they would either have to admit that it was the same recipe and get served with a cease and desist from BAT, or say that it was a new recipe and be
get
subject to the
nailed
deeming
10,000
regulation.
bucks.
Right. So
You're a bit-
there was a rock and a hard place. Somebody had to woo BAT on the idea of licensing the recipe at least, and I guess STG got that with the Peterson name.
My understanding is the only problem the Dunhill people had with having the blends done by STG again was they did not want the Dunhill label.
Right.
As long as the Dunhill label wasn't on the tin, Dunhill's happy about it.
Oh,
They've distanced themselves from tobacco in general too. Like the white, the pipes. You don't see the Dunhill name waved around the pipes very much. It's still stamped on the pipes, but all the marketing material is the white spot.
see you later, Eric.
Take it off?
See, Eric?
See you, Eric.
I'm gonna grab my piece.
Yeah, I'm under the impression that Dunhill, if they had their way, wouldn't do the pipes either. But I think there's so much demand for the pipes from a high-end market that they keep the pipes in the line.
Right.
But
Well, yeah,
frankly, I mean,
Dunhill's the legend, you know?
Yeah, right.
this stuff here, this would be a big loss if this went away.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally.
If the Dunhill pipes went away,
Yeah.
I don't know. There are very few.
There's
people
so many
that pay
good pipes out there
$500
now.
for a billiard.
Yeah,
It's
right.
not a particularly better looking billiard than Putoros.
I know, right, right.
For half the price or less.
Mm-hmm.
So I've smoked a lot of Dunhill pipes. And really, they don't smoke any different. In fact, this is a better smoking pipe by far and away. This little Jubileo.
I wouldn't want to clench that.
Mr. Fabian was good enough to talk them into making something. It was my favorite shape. And that
Nice.
tremendous pipe. Best pipe in my rack.
What are you smoking, by the way? Like what tobacco are you? actually
Tobacco?
smoking?
It's this John Cotton.
Oh, okay. I have something for you to try next then.
Okay.
Is that to the next
That's what I was smoking, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Which one is it?
John Mark.
Oh yeah, the John Mark. It's an interesting approach to the Melville at C series.
Jeremy Reeves, I've always, oh no, my poor temper. There's four different ways to approach putting sauce on a tobacco blend. A lot of the old school European stuff, you know, the big Virginia flakes, the famous old Virginia flakes and so forth, that all had a little honey or a little vanilla or a little molasses or whatever on it, and that was just part of the way tobacco's handled, and there's nothing wrong with that approach. There are outright American-style aromatics like Captain Black, where the whole point is the flavor, and the base tobaccos are really serving as a vehicle for that flavor. You can do something
That
like
was
Donald
generous.
Hogarth, where it's real heavy aromatics on really heavy tobaccos.
Geranium juice.
Right. Yeah.
International flake has geranium juice. And that's what it smells like. Why not open the bin up to get some of that out? You can smell it like 6 blocks away. I mean,
It's like smoking grandma.
It's like smoking your wife's potpourri.
Yeah.
people liken it to what's called granny pants. The bottom of your grandmother's purse probably smells like it. But go ahead.
Yeah, no. You can also use a topping like a rub on a steak, though, where it's not there to get in the way of the meat. It's just there to bring out the very best flavors on it, like a marinade. And a lot of what Jeremy Reeves likes to do is to play with toppings like that. So you've got a blend like John Marr, which is Red Virginia, Bright Virginia, Perique, a lot of Oriental. There's a really high percentage of Oriental in there compared to most of Cornell and Diehl's catalog. And then a little pinch of unsweetened black Cavendish.
Is that where the flavoring agent is? In the black Cavendish?
No, it's topped.
It's topped with.
Oh, I know there's vanilla and some sort of liqueur on there, I think. But it's topped as in everything's blended and then the sauce is applied at the end to everything. But it's not an aromatic. The top note on there is strong enough that you taste it in the pipe, you smell it in the blend, but it still tastes like tobacco. It's but it's like a marinade. You know what I mean? It does something a little special to the ingredients rather than getting in the way of them or trying to compete with them. You know.
Well, when I was first starting to smoke a pipe in the late 60s, 68 I think, the only things available out there in aromatic type tobaccos was amphora, sale, those Dutch style Cavendishes, Troost, and Troost aromatic, and those were pretty bitey. If you didn't smoke real slow, they would bite the heck out of your tongue. Then Herman Lane came along. The guy revolutionized the aromatic pipe tobacco business because he came up with this formula where you got this stuff called Captain Black, and like Joe says, it's basically about the flavor and the aroma get off of the topping itself rather than the tobacco. The tobacco is kind of irrelevant in Captain Black. It doesn't matter what it is. It's probably a cheap burley, but that's basically what it is.
Right. Well, it burns well. It gives you a little nicotine hit.
In a burley,
doesn't have much flavor by itself.
Yeah, and if you're doing leaf selection for that, you're going to look for a burley that's relatively low nicotine, that's really porous, because you want a leaf,
sop it up.
Yeah, you want a leaf that's going to be spongy, and burley is good for that. But when Cornell and Diehl chooses a burley, we choose one with a lot of body and a lot of flavor because we want that we want that nature from the burley, you know what I mean? So there's a leaf selection thing, even if you make an American style aromatic with top shelf leaf, because even Gawith and Hogarth makes some American style aromatics. You could say that Autumn Evening, our tobacco, we take Red Virginia ribbon and Cavendish it. So you could say that is an American style Cavendish that's made with top-notch quality tobacco because the Red Virginia we use for that is the same Red Virginia that goes into our Virginia blends. But the end product that you end up with, there's a good tobacco nature to Autumn Evening, but I don't think anybody could say that the Red Virginia flavor is the point of Autumn Evening.
Exactly,
about,
it's the pancakes,
Chili's not about having, you don't put filet mignon in chili, you put good peppers in chili.
Well, that's funny because then basically what has happened is the second revolution has happened with aromatic tobaccos. Cornell and Diehl is doing a whole different approach than Herman Lane did back in 1966 with Captain Black. It's a better approach in the sense that the pipe smoker gets a whole lot more flavor out of his pipe than you got in 1968 with a pouch full of Captain Black. But we couldn't keep it on the shelf at the tinderbox. I mean, it flew out of there.
Captain Black?
Oh, God. Really? I mean, everybody wanted it. They were buying big full pound tins in those days, and the pound tin in those days was like $3.50.
If you look at the industry side of pipes, though, over the years, there's sort of the concept of what a pipe is. We were talking earlier when we were discussing artisan pipes a little bit about how a super high-end Savinelli is a different kind of pipe than a high-end artisan pipe. Even though they might be the same price, or even if the Savinelli is more expensive, it's a different thing that you're buying. It's the difference between buying a high-end Rolex and buying a watch that was made by a jewelry artisan who put it all together. You know what I mean? It's a different type of object. A lot of the guys who smoked pipes up until the 50s and 60s had a relationship with their pipes that was similar to the relationship people have with cigarettes. It was mostly older guys who would, you know, and we still see them in the industry constantly today. Older guys who come in, they buy the cheapest basket pipe they can get their hands on, 8 ounces of their preferred aromatic pipe tobacco, and then they leave again. They don't want to collect pipes. They don't care whether a pipe is beautiful or not. It fits in their hand. It feels good in their teeth. It burns tobacco. They don't care. The tobacco, it smells nice enough that it doesn't irritate their wife, and it gives them their tobacco fix. And
Right.
That's it. They never clean out their pipes. You can't give them pipe cleaners for free. They smoke their pipes until they fall to pieces and they throw them away. But in the first part of the 20th century, that was the majority of pipe smokers. The reason that the Rossi Pipe Factory went under is because they specialized in making inexpensive pipes for that market. They made some higher end lines, but the Rossi factory, the Rossi family mainly got into hard times in their business because cigarette manufacturing became really inexpensive. There were better cigarette making machines developed in the 40s and 50s. And so
some of those guys in the 50s, a lot of those guys that were smoking Burleys were probably converted cigarette smokers, and they just wanted that nicotine hit.
Yeah,
Because
right.
Burley gives you a pretty good nicotine hit,
Right.
style of Burleys.
But the idea, what we do here, where we sit down and we discuss our favorite tobaccos and our favorite tasting notes, and oh, you really should try this. you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
That is as foreign to that part of the pipe market, and that would have been as foreign in the 50s and 60s to a lot of the pipe market, as the idea of all of us getting together to smoke cigarettes together. And why don't you try one of my Camels? That's really good. You know, yeah. So nowadays, the pipe market is a lot smaller, but a much bigger portion of the pipe market is this. A much bigger portion of the pipe market is having an appreciation for fine pipes and taking care of them, and you know, trying different tobaccos, and that's led to this humongous bloom in diversity.
And you still see those old timers once in a while. I have a couple of guys, one guy in particular that comes to my store, and no names will be mentioned here, but he always just smokes the cheapest tobacco I've got in the cheapest pipe he can find. His wife bought him a Peterson $100 pipe at Christmas time. Within 3 months, he brought that pipe in, and it had volcano tobacco down the sides. He never ran a pipe cleaner through there. Basically, you could take the sludge off the side of his pipe, which was the used pipe tobacco.
Wow.
And I always ask him if he needs pipe cleaner. Oh no, I have enough pipe cleaner. Well, probably use the same one.
You're right. Well, they're like $20 bills.
Yeah, right. But there's that part of the market that's pretty small. You don't see too many of those guys.
So is Perique kind of a new thing? I mean, I know it's been around for a long time, but
they've all died of tongue cancer.
it seems like vapors are kind of hip and trendy. Maybe that's actually what the crest has passed on those.
I mean, there are little phases that happen. You know, 10 years ago, everybody was bringing out these gigantic Laudisi bombs.
Yes.
And everybody was making them. Every single company was making, just churning out Laudisi bomb after Laudisi bomb after Laudisi bomb after Laudisi bomb. The same way that if you're a beer guy, it was IPAs.
Yes, right.
And now it's porters and
Yeah,
stouts.
right.
And, you know, in another 4 or 5 years, it might be Saisons, it might be Belgian style.
Something, right, something new.
Yeah, there's always going to be that.
Right.
There's always going to be that trend. I'm grateful that there is enough fervor and enthusiasm for developing new pipelines that those trends can even exist.
Yeah, that's right.
And so
That's a good way to look at it.
I think that a lot of stuff's overhyped. Personally, I tend to be the point is that we're sitting and smoking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The point is
Oh,
to get
yeah.
together and smoke and enjoy it.
Is this a monsieur?
I'm not holding all this stuff.
Oh, it's okay. I mean,
We're talking about
yeah.
pipes.
But Price, you know more about that stuff than anybody I know. So,
You said you
yeah.
bought that in Tacoma?
Yeah, this is an olive wood pipe, but I'll use it for
Right. Okay.
demonstration. The olive wood's beautiful wood. It's a wonderful wood to build, to make a pipe from. But there are some issues with it. The shanks crack very easily, but that's resolved with Delrin shank insert and
Okay.
Delrin tenon
Right?
in your stem.
Okay.
So you totally take care of the issue of the shank cracking, so you can have a smaller, more delicate shank Another issue they have is they tend to check around the outside of the fattest part of the bowl.
As they get hot and shrink a little
As
bit.
they heat and as it expands and contracts, when the nearest I can tell is that the olive wood does not expand and contract uniformly.
Okay.
So the inside where the heat is expands more than the outside.
Right.
It doesn't dissipate the heat well, like briar just spreads the heat through the whole place.
Right.
Olive wood doesn't. It tends to concentrate the heat in the bowl. And what you end up with is you end up with checks around the fattest part of the bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And these are tiny scissors,
Probably all
but they
Italian
don't go
briar
through to the bowl. They just go
don't worry about
outside. It's a check, not a crack.
Yeah.
And another problem with an olive wood pipe is that the rim of the bowl tends to burn very easily.
Oh.
So even a match, if you light with a match and you're very careful,
Right.
and the fire creeps towards the edge of the match,
You're right.
and it will literally char a little spot on the rim of your bowl.
Wow.
So you have to be super duper careful with lighting an olive wood pipe. As far as working with, they work great. As far as smoking, they smoke wonderful. But the problems, issues around them mean that I certainly wouldn't make an olive wood pipe to give to somebody.
Right.
Because of the problems with the shanks and the checking.
Lord knows
and
what
burning.
happened to my pipes.
But I do like smoking.
I was telling you.
I'm gonna make sure they don't end up in a landfill.
Good friend of mine.